This is a Tier 2 and 3 game on Himmelsdorf, which is a small, lower-tier map. I'm playing again with the Erg. He's in his Panzer 1C. I'm in my T-127. I use the T-127 for extra training for my high-level light Russian crews. The Erg likes the Panzer 1C because it's a little go-kart with a machine gun on it. However, he liked it more a couple of months ago when the matchmaker put him into lots of Tier 5 battles. It's an excellent scout on larger maps. On a small map like this, at Tier 3, he has to basically be a damage dealer. And he doesn't like it as much for that. Early in this game, I'm going to try and move forward, see what I can spot in the middle, and then make a decision from there. And early on, I spot the only heavy tank in the game, Japanese Type 91 on the enemy team. And I waste a lot of time trying to shoot the cupola at the top of the turret. Don't do very well. And I start bouncing rounds from the enemy T2 medium. Although the T-127 is technically a premium tank, or excuse me, technically a light tank, at this tier it acts more like a medium. You see, I'm bouncing lots of shells. I've got 40 millimeters of hull armor in the front, and it's well sloped. Now here's I went to an abandoned building trying to get some cover so I can shoot at people across the way with relative protection. Most of the city maps in World of Tanks have buildings like this in different places where you can get a hull down position and basically turn into a pillbox. However, I'm really not seeing much from this current position. I'm probably going to have to move fairly soon. But I keep looking. If I can shoot from a protected position like this, I like it. Oh, there's somebody I can shoot at. Get 2 shots into him. Don't get a third. You may have noticed the first shot on my screen looks like it actually missed him, but still got hit. There is some synchronization issues between the graphics that show up on your screen and what the server is reporting as hits and misses. It gets kind of annoying sometimes when you're certain it hit, but it actually didn't. Now at this point I spot an enemy H-35 coming down on our flank. That's a heavily armored tank, so I switched to my premium rounds for extra penetration just to make sure I can get into it. Kill it, and now switch back to the regular ammo. And try and go back into my little hiding hole. And now I see that we are starting to get flanked again. They're both up on the hill, and they got somebody else coming down on the 8th line. Trying to squeeze past the Erg without pushing him into position, out of position. It's very annoying, very rude to disrupt somebody that way. And that T2 medium got past us. So I start heading down the, try and head him off at the cap circle. And the Erg is following me. And momentarily, first kill this guy who came down the railroad track. We're basically surrounded here. And I see another tank coming in behind us, so I turn around to face him. The Erg goes after the artillery who came all the way down to this end. At this point, it's the Erg and I against, right now, 5 enemies. Basically, Butch and Sundance here. Start heading back over to support him, because he's got 2 tanks coming at him. He goes on a bonsai charge with the machine gun. But the Panzer, the tanks at that end have a little bit better armor than he expected, and he can't really hurt them. Or rather, he can't kill it. And just before I killed that tank, the Erg died. So it was now me. It was 1 versus 5. Now I took some rounds behind. I wanted to basically face these guys one-on-one. So the M2 was shooting me in the back, and a guy in front of me. My strongest armor is in the front, so I decided to charge this guy and take him out first. I only have to face him one at a time. I also used auto lock, that's a built-in game feature, to lock my turret to point towards the enemy. This way, no matter how I drive, the turret will try and go point at the enemy. It's a very useful feature if you're trying to maneuver, because you don't have to concentrate on driving, not driving and aiming in a different direction at the same time. And as you see here, I don't even have to turn my point of view. The turrets run around automatically. I just have to wait for the green cursor to line up on his tank, then I can fire it and hurt him. I forget to do that against this guy. And I aim manually, and every time he moves, I lose track of him. Fortunately, my armor is blocking him. There's two enemies. One of them on the mini-map was last seen down here at the base of the big hill. So I'm going to start overhead, head that way. I'd rather run into him head-on where I've got thick armor than have him roll in behind me when I'm not looking. Heading to his last known position. And I switch back over to my premium rounds because I really want to take him down. So I've only got 13 hit points left. I'm almost dead. Oh, and he's behind me. And I would rather surprise him, fight at a long distance, and have him, let him get close, because he's got a few more hit points than I do. Also, being a lower tier map, I'm hoping that he's not as good a player as I am and might not realize where I'm going when I drive down this street. Once I'm more than 50 meters away from him, I disappear from his radar unless there's an open line of sight between us. So I swing around the corner, try and angle my frontal armor. There he is. Just missed. But he must be a new player, because he has not seen me. Rather, he is not reacting to me. Well, he stopped, so I'm assuming he's going to turn around. But when I get around the corner, he hasn't turned around. So I really, this is a new player, and I'm taking advantage of him. This turret is just now turning, and he fired, but the turret wasn't turned around yet. So yeah, he was a new player. Only one enemy left, and he has not been seen in the entire game. So I figure I'm just going to head down to the enemy capture circle, and if I don't run into him, I'll just start capping with my back to the wall and make him come to me. Now, my heart was really racing at this point, and I'm nervous as hell because this is the most kills I've ever gotten in this game, and I'm almost dead. One hit that penetrates will kill me, no matter what size gun it is. There's the enemy capture circle. And there's the enemy. And it looks like he crashed right after the start of the game. He moved slightly from his starting position and stopped. Now I switch back to my lower priced ammunition and win the game. One thing I forgot to mention about the auto-aim feature is that it always tries to aim for the center of mass of the enemy tank, even if the center of mass, from your point of view, is behind a rock or a building. Also, on some tanks, you want to aim at specific weak points in their armor, which usually isn't the center of mass. The auto-aim feature is a useful tool, but only in some situations. Now, let's get back to the game results screen here. I got the Ace Tanker badge, top 1% of all T-127 games in the last week. Bruiser badge for causing lots of damage to enemy crew members and components in their tanks. Duelist. I destroyed at least 2 enemy tanks that had previously caused me damage. Caused more damage than hit points in my vehicle, barely. On second thought, no, that's probably almost 4 times as much as my hit points. Shellproof. This is one that's almost barely. I blocked 260 points of damage with my armor, and my vehicle has 250 hit points. Spartan. While I was down to less than 10% of my hit points, I actually bounced at least 1 shell with my armor. Top Gun for doing at least 6 kills. And the Kolobanov's medal for standing alone against 5 enemies and winning the game. There's also a badge available at higher tiers for destroying 8 vehicles. However, they don't award that to lower tiers. They don't want the really elite players going down to low levels and farming that badge off of the newbies. It's bad enough that I was down there, and I'm not exactly an elite player. I was tops on my team for both damage and EXP, and the ERG was 3rd on damage and EXP, and he got the fire effect badge as well. Overall, this is my best game so far, even though it was against probably about half the enemy team was newbies. But I'll take it. I've been ganked enough times by the elite players at my own tiers that I'll take it, and I think it's all fair.